Hi friends, Astrologer Joseph Anthony here, and here is the video for 2025. This is going to be an overview of 2025 and what the year brings. Now, as you can see by the slide here, I'm calling this one Revolution, the End of Old Ways, and that's what 2025 appears to be. There is so much change that's going to be shown in 2025. A lot of the old systems are going to go away. There's going to be a lot of technological advances. There's going to be a lot of friction in 2025. But towards the end of the year of 2025, there seems to be some new way of doing things, or people are feeling much happier or more content in some way. And this is because the outer planets are going to be making favorable alignments to each other, which spills over into 2026. So I'm going to give you an overview of what I see here. And it is really, there's no turning back. In other words, this year will mark a turning point, a pivotal turning point in humanity's history, where it shows that this is the year that everything started to change in such a dramatic way that it's almost unrecognizable anymore. So that is what's coming, and no area is untouched. It's going to be the financial system. It's going to be the political system. It's going to be corporations. It's going to be technology. It's going to be how we view the world. It's all going to come at us at the same time. And this is because it appears that time is accelerating on the one hand, but it really has a lot to do with these outer planets. Now, in astrology, each year we have the outer planets making a move. Usually there's one or two outer planets that changes signs, and we see significant growth and realizations. But this year is very special, especially in 2024 into 2025, because we've got all the outer planets that have switched signs or are going to switch signs. We know about Pluto. It went into Aquarius in November 19th of 2024, and it will stay in that position for the next 20 years. Then in 2025, we have the remaining planets, the outer planets, all switching signs as well. And so it's going to be very significant. We astrologers know when we have this many planets switching signs, the outer planets, they represent societal changes. They represent earth changes. They represent the cyclical changes of, the world. So again, this is how you have to view astrology or numerology or any other ology that you want to look at, understanding the patterns and cycles and trends. And this is a monumental year for change. So get ready, because you're going to witness it right away in 2025. So let's dive deeper into what I'm seeing here and what I'm talking about, okay? And so I got a bunch of slides here to show you, and I'll do my best to, give you an idea of what's going on. So let's start off first off with the year. The year in numerology is a 9-year. This is very significant in numerology because numerology goes from 1 to 9, symbolically representing a cycle. The 9 is about learning, teaching, being wise, but it's also about endings and completions. So this is one of the symbols that I see here of 2025 being significant. This is a significant turning point. Like, we're starting something new, but before we start something new, the old system has to die or end or complete in some way. And so this 9 is going to teach us a lot of valuable lessons, okay? Where we've been, what we've been through. In our personal lives, we will look at things in a different way. We'll say, okay, I had to go through that in order to get here. I will no longer do this kind of stuff anymore. And that's the year of the 9. Now, I outlined here what it looks like in numerology. And again, this is very general and very basic. As you can see here, we're in this 9-year, but as I'm doing this video in 2024, this was a year of expansion. Now we're going into completion, okay, before we get into 2026 and we have new beginnings. So this is indicating what kind of year we're going to have right off the bat from the numerology standpoint. So you could see here that many things are going to be ending, or we're going to have a lot of realizations about things. But, 9 is about information. It's about teaching. It's about learning. It's about understanding. So this is a very important year for all of that. Now, I've outlined some of the themes here. I'm not going to read all of them, but you could take a screenshot of this. In numerology, a year is considered the final year in numerology's cycle, symbolizing completion, culmination, and transformation. Absolutely, everything I just pointed out. Okay? And it's preparing us for the upcoming 1 year. So completion and closure, absolutely. And this means many things on a personal level, including all of these things that we've been seeing in the news, such financial systems, politics, corporations, different entities being exposed. It's all coming to an end. Reflection and introspection, absolutely. Because this is a very wise number in the sense that we've learned so much over the last, let's say, 8 years, because each year, is reflective in the numerology. Letting go. This is a big one, okay? Grudges, habits, things that you cannot control, getting rid of the emotional baggage and outdated mindsets. This is part of the 9 year. Humanitarian and altruistic energy, okay? This is about compassion and service to others. We may feel a calling, as contributing to a community or engage in humanitarian efforts. This is all part of the 9 year, okay? But I think there actually is more. Transformation and healing. This is all part of the 9 year because we've become wiser to the decisions we've made and the choices we made and the realizations that we're coming to. So 9 year, very important. Intuition and creativity. This is absolutely on point. We are becoming more intuitive, as I've been saying, because the energy is increasing. Our awareness is becoming more awake, and there is the great awakening occurring. And so we're becoming more intuitive and absolutely more creative. And so this is going to be a very pivotal year for all of that. And universal and big picture thinking. 9 is expansive. It's, coming to terms with many things. As you can see here, encourages thinking in place in a larger world and your connection to humanity. So it's just a deeper spiritual understanding of everything and how it works. And so this is all part of the 9 year, as you could see here. Let's see here. Okay, so here is some advice that I would suggest for the 9 year. Embracing change, because there's going to be a lots of it. Cultivating forgiveness. Don't start, pointing fingers and getting angry and all that stuff. 9 years are about forgiveness. Focus on self-care. Absolutely. The 9 year has a lot to do with physical well-being. So we need to take this as a very important step into 2026. Plan for the future. Very important. Okay, if we know something's ending and something new is starting, we want to plan for it. In other words, adjust our thinking and our physical well-being and, where we need to be and so on and so forth. Okay, engage in altruism. Find joy in contributing to the greater good. Absolutely. This is what I've been advising many of my members in the community and on these videos here, to do the little things that make you feel good, enjoy being around other people that you really connect with, even if it's just for a short period of time. It doesn't matter, but it's finding and contributing to the greater good. All right. This 9 year sets the stage for fresh start in the following year, making it a pivotal and transformational period. This is a huge year. I cannot overstate it enough. All right. So anyway, let's continue on and show you also symbolically from the Tarot card. This is a 9 year represented by the Hermit, which is the 9th card in the Tarot deck. So self-reflection and inner guidance, spiritual growth, wisdom, this all falls under the Hermit. Okay. The lantern illuminates the path, symbolizes guidance, enlightenment, and the reach and the search for truth. The staff represents support, authority, and wisdom. And of course, it's a solitary figure highlighting detachment from the material world and focus on the inner self. Again, we see it symbolically from the Tarot deck as well as the numerology. So we will get into the astrology now, and I will show you what's going on here. So first and foremost, you have to understand why these changes are occurring, and it has to do with these outer planets. They are symbolic, okay? They're pulling on energy. Everything in this universe is made up of energy. And so these planets, when they switch signs, they symbolically represent a shift in energy or consciousness, another word we could use. Now, what makes this so important is, number one, we have two planets right here, Saturn and Neptune, that are going to be leaving Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac, the Western zodiac, and going into Aries, which is about pioneering spirit, starting new, the beginning of the zodiac cycle again. So we have two planets, very significant, that are going to be switching signs. There's the dates that I gave you. Now we also have Jupiter, which is going to be leaving Gemini and entering Cancer. This is a sign associated with nurturing, the land, family dynamics, and the United States, because the United States was founded under the sign of Cancer. So huge year for the United States, as we already are aware. But there is one other planet that's going to make significant changes. And this comes in July when Uranus enters Gemini. Now, Uranus has been in Taurus the last 7 or 8 years, and it really has been very heavy and draining. Now, when Uranus enters Gemini, the energy completely shifts. This is a total wild card. Gemini is about knowledge, wisdom, communication, voicing your opinion. And Uranus is about rebellious, innovation, technology, the future, extraterrestrials, humanity. So we could see right here that July is going to be such a significant month because of this movement as well. So we have all these planets making these moves, shifting the energy around. And I will show you in some of the charts what it significantly means. I will be once again focusing on the United States because of Jupiter in Cancer. That's going to be highlighting the United States, or any country for that matter, that was born under the sign of Cancer. Okay, but this is how we astrologers are going, oh my goodness, there's going to be significant changes in 2025. Now it's up to us how we want those changes to evolve. Is it going to be chaotic? Is it going to be rebellious? Is it going to be conflict? Or is it going to be a smoother transition into understanding, compassion, helping each other out? Okay? Now, I've been saying this for a while because I saw this in 2008, 2009, that humanity was going to divide. And we see that now. And the division is between those that are awake and understand who they are and understand cyclical nature. They understand that we're here to have experiences and we'll do the best we can, against those that do not understand this. Those that are locked into the system, a certain mindset, a certain belief that goes, no, 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 I don't want to change. No, 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 you can't do that. No, no, no. And this is the real awakening that's occurring. We're seeing things and people for who they are. And this is going to be the conflict this year. There will absolutely be a lot of disturbance in 2025, and it will occur right away in 2025 because of planets being in retrograde, because of these shifting energies that are coming in. Now, by the end of 2025, I say from August on, there are some wonderful positive alignments coming in, which are going to show us some really nice advances, either in technology or in humanity, or some form of creative change that's going to help everyone out. So I do see a lot of positive stuff in 2025, but a lot of endings and closures and significant changes that some people may not comprehend. And so this is going to be an issue. Okay, so let's continue. Here's the chart for the new year. And I'm going to go kind of throughout the year, but you could see here as we start off the new year that we have this significant Pluto opposing Mars going on, and this is conflict, inner conflict. So if you've been following the news, you know there's issues going on with Russia and wanting to provoke them into another war. We've got the small country of Georgia, having problems there. We see South Korea and their lockdown martial law. I mean, we're seeing these things occur in other countries other than the United States. The United States will be affected by it, coming real soon. I could promise you that. There's no way the United States is getting out of 2025 without some sort of minor skirmish or conflict or issues, especially since we have a new president now that is going to turn the whole system upside down. So we're going to see a lot of that. So the new year starts with this friction, okay? Really intense friction. We're also seeing some of the other planets here. Here's Saturn, here's Neptune. They're in, one's in 27 degrees, getting close to moving into Aries. We see Saturn here in Pisces. In May, we'll go into Aries as well. We're seeing Uranus in retrograde. We're seeing Jupiter in retrograde. We're seeing, we're seeing retrogrades. We're seeing Mercury in retrograde. We're seeing Mars in retrograde. So there's quite a few planets in retrograde as we start off. So it's a slow start, but a confusing start, or one that feels like, irritable. Here we go. It's not producing, results that we want right off the bat. It's just the way the cycles work. And so we're seeing the Saturn square Jupiter still in effect. Squares are tension or challenges in some way. And so we're feeling that irritation. We're feeling the restless nature of it all. And this does not help with this opposition going on here. So we're starting off the new year with a lot of tension and low vibrational energy that is kind of making us feel like nothing's moving, or we're feeling irritated in some way. So just pay attention to that stuff, and don't feed into any fears, anxiety, and stress. We're being affected by some heavy energy here. Okay. So in the United States, there is that opposition from Pluto to Mars. So we're seeing some sort of conflict going on in the United States. Could have to do with power structures, could have to do with financial means as well. We're seeing, that Jupiter square Saturn here. So this has a lot to do with people externally outside the United States. It's also making a favorable alignment to Saturn here. So I think that this has a lot to do with conflicts around the world that the United States has been behind or has been funding. And so this is all going to be exposed. So one of the things that this year brings is a lot of exposure. A lot of hidden things that were, kept from us are going to come to the forefront. And so we're going to see that. But we also have Venus conjuncting the moon. So this is a very explosive time, a volatile time in the United States. We are seeing this right now. We're seeing Mercury also opposing Mars. A lot of words, a lot of, restlessness. This could be something to do with Congress or the Senate or whatever else is going on at this time. There's absolutely an irritation in the mix because of this major alignment taking place. Okay, so this is a month absolutely to watch out for in terms of surprises. Now, we're seeing a lot of surprises also with like extraterrestrials all over the world. These lights or these orbs or whatever you want to call them, unknown objects. They are appearing more and more. Now, this could be, something that's false, that's being done artificially to get our consciousness in line, or they're using it to scare us. But whatever it is, this is the kind of surprises that I'm seeing here coming into just the beginning of the year. Now, these are the major transits for the year. You might want to take a screenshot of this and jot it down, keep it on your desktop or on your phone. But these are the dates that you want to pay attention to, because these are the most significant energies that are like at their peak. For instance, Mars retrograde in Cancer. Mars is going to go backwards into Cancer, which means the United States and moodiness and irritability and all this other stuff. You see, it's not a fun position. I'm sorry to have to say that. Okay, then we have on the 11th, we have the North Node entering Pisces. The North Node is what's pointing us in a new direction for 18 months or so. It's in the spiritual sign of Pisces, but it's also about letting go of the past, imagination, creativity, compassion, and understanding. Okay, so we have that going on as well. In February, we have the North Node conjunct Neptune. Talk about fantasy, talk about imagination, talk about intuition, talk about compassion. This is huge around February. So keep that in mind as well. Now, March 1st and 2nd, unfortunately, Venus will go retrograde. So we'll have Mars coming out of retrograde in February, but then we have Venus going into retrograde. Venus represents partnerships, finances, the material side of life, our values, and it's in Aries, the self. So if you have anything to do with Aries in your chart, it will be affecting you. Okay. And in March, we have Neptune entering Aries. So we have some significant energy coming in that's going to shift things around in March, having to do with our values, reinventing ourselves, becoming more aggressive. Aries is very aggressive. It's impulsive energy. So we may see more conflict or people just getting into arguments for some reason. Remember, Venus will be retrograde at this time and Mars will enter Aries. So we may see people just being, totally not themselves. Aries is also associated with military. So we may see more conflicts around the world that are going to take hold. It's like humanity is going to be supercharged to want to do something, and they'll be directing their energy towards others. Okay. Saturn conjuncts the North Node on April the 21st. Now we're seeing the energy of Saturn, which is in Pisces at this time, conjuncting the North Node. So something to do with governmental changes are going to take place. And this will be around the world, but I also think it's going to be the United States. And I'll show you in one of the charts. So this is going to be monumental as well in April. Okay. When we go into May, we have some challenging aspects that are coming in, including Saturn going into Aries as well. So Jupiter square, which is challenging, the North Node and South Nodes. So Jupiter here is going to be in Gemini, squaring the Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node. So here we're seeing something to do with either health matters. We're seeing something to do with workers. We're seeing something to do with, confusion, lots of confusion in May here. Okay, so we could see the trend starting here. As astrologers, we see March being incredibly unstable. We're seeing something going on with governments around the world here. And then we're seeing more confusion or restlessness and irritability coming in May. And here we have Saturn entering Aries, again, the first sign of the zodiac, pushing us forward to take action towards something. And so Aries represents the self. So we are becoming more empowered. We're becoming more, on a personal level, aware of things. All right. So this is going to be really huge. So whatever information comes out April and May seems to be very important. Now, when we go into June, as you can see here, it's a little bit volatile because of the square. See, there's two squares to Saturn and Neptune. May the 24th is important, but then when we get to June the 9th, Jupiter enters Cancer. Now the emphasis is on emotions and security and safety. This is what the sign of Cancer is all about. It's about nurturing, okay? But it's also a protective sign. But Jupiter works very well in Cancer. In other words, it's exalted, meaning that it'll pace itself, it'll feel optimistic one time and, do the best it can. So Jupiter is not like off the deep end, and Cancer is not off the deep end. So it works very well, but it is in the sign of Cancer, which is the United States' sun chart. Anyway, so on the 15th, right away, Jupiter will square Saturn. On the 18th, Jupiter will square Neptune. So we have some confusion going on here with United States, the leadership, the country as a whole, the land. This could have something to do with weather anomalies. Okay, so we need to pay attention to that. Storms, weather. As of me taping this video, I've been saying to watch the water. And what took place, I believe it was December the 5th, there was a 7.0 earthquake off the California coastline, which caused small tsunamis, nothing major, fortunately. But I'm seeing more of that coming in, weather-related anomalies. Remember, we're talking about Cancer, which is a water sign. We're talking about the North Node in Pisces, which is a water sign. And so we could see things related to the water or the land that are going to be emphasized in June. Now, July, everything breaks free in July because of Uranus entering Gemini. Now, I think it'll happen before then in June, but July opens the doorway for massive change in technology, innovation, communication, a restless nature, people speaking out. This is a tremendous amount of energy that's coming in July. So there's going to be, it's going to be noticeable, friends, okay? So pay attention. In your personal life, you're going to be thinking outside the box. You're not going to be feeling confined anymore, like Uranus in Taurus. Uranus in Gemini, with all this Aries energy, is going to look for solutions. It will look for challenges in some way. So this is the kind of energy we have going in. Now, there is some wonderful news, though, after August, when we have the outer planets making favorable alignments to each other. So Saturn will be in Aries. It will sextile Uranus. Very nice energy for innovation, technology, seeing things in a new way, and adapting to the current situations. So anytime you see Saturn, you have to think governmental bodies or any organization that's controlling will be in the picture. So the government or something to do with the corporations and the monetary system will be on the table at this time. Could be something like a new currency that gets revealed. So there is absolutely that going on here. Same on the 28th, Uranus sextiles Neptune, another favorable alignment. So we're seeing some nice favorable alignments in August. So whatever's taking place the first 6 or 7 months, there seems to be some beneficial, transitions taking place. September, the same thing. Jupiter will trine the North Node. This could be very favorable with understanding, compassion, realizations of some kind, feeling happier. And the same thing in November the 20th when we have Uranus sextiles Neptune again. But at this point, they've retrograded back. So Uranus will be in Taurus again, and Neptune will be back in Pisces. Okay, so we have an idea of the energy coming in. So prepare yourself, because it's going to be unlike anything you've experienced before. It will not be like 2024, where it was like draining and uncomfortable. No, 2025 is exciting. It is high energy. It is high vibration, especially after April. Okay, so let's go back to Pluto and why this is so important, because Pluto will be playing a pivotal role in 2025. As you know, Pluto represents transformation, power, and unseen forces that drive profound changes. Okay? It's the sign of death and rebirth, regeneration. Pluto's energy is intense, often challenging, but ultimately transformative. It's in the sign of Aquarius the next 20 years. So wherever Aquarius is in your birth chart, this is going to revolutionize that area. So this symbolizes innovation, individuality, progressive outlook, out of the ordinary thinking, ruled by Uranus, okay? And Saturn, the traditional ruler. It combines the elements of rebellion, discipline, making it a complex and dynamic sign. In 2025, Pluto will be engaged in towards the second half of the year with Saturn, with Neptune, and Uranus, making it a very favorable time for significant changes. Okay, and I will show you some of those charts as well. So you can see here, symbolically, everything represents some sort of innovation, change, and disruption to the system. There's no way we're getting out of 2025 without major events or major disruption. It's not going to be docile and easygoing. It's going to be in your face. Let's get this done. I'm going to change things around. And this could be in your personal life as well. Picking yourself up and going, I need to move. I need a new job. I need to start a new business. I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to change my appearance. Whatever it is, the energies are going to be much higher after April of 2025. And these planets are going to help with all that. So Pluto in Aquarius, I'm just going to go over just the basics here. Revolution in technology and innovation. Absolutely, especially when Uranus goes into Gemini. Lots of breakthroughs. Decentralization of power. Isn't that what Mr. T was talking about? We're going to see that. Restructuring of communities. So focus on a collective, reimagining equality. So there's tons of that's going to take place because it's, Aquarius is their community. Revolutionary ideas. Absolutely. Okay. Radical reforms, innovative thinking, power struggles and liberation. Unfortunately, that is going to happen as well. Freedom from oppression. So this is where those other folks that want to just break free from, politics or the financial system and whatever it is, we could see that all coming out. This is all part of it. Transformation of human connection. We got to be careful of not becoming robotic or desensitized by all the energy and embracing technology and forgetting the compassion and understanding of who we really are. That is extremely important coming in 2025. We have to be careful of this, friends, and I'm not going to read it out. You could see it on the screen, and I've said this. So many of us have been saying it. Okay, Catherine Austin Fitz talks about the digital concentration camps. Look it up. She is absolutely correct. She's got a financial background. She's very smart. She was in politics for many years until they threw her under the bus. This is a concern, friends. Okay? I love technology. I love innovation. But again, if you go down this road, we are all going to be up a creek without a paddle, if you know what I mean. Because look at what happened in North Carolina. Those people there cannot use their cell phones. They cannot get information. They cannot access their digital information of any kind. It's like back to the Stone Ages. So this is the concern with everything going digital. Okay. Not only that, you're losing your personal identity and freedom. So this is one of the things, or one of the themes that are going to be pushed in 2025 that we need to be careful of. Okay. So I think there's a lot of change coming on purpose in 2025 in order to create all of this. So we need to be very mindful of this, friends. Now, the other thing I want to focus on is the North Node. Okay, so the North Node is going to switch signs into compassion and understanding Pisces. During this period, the focus will be on embracing themes of compassion, spirituality, creativity, and intuition, while letting go of overanalyzing, perfectionism, and excessive practicality associated with the South Node in Virgo. This transit encourages truth in the flow of life, emotional healing, and the exploration of imaginative and spiritual realms. And here is the theme right there. There's the timeline. It's usually about every 18 months that the North Node switches signs. And so here is the general underlying foundation of what's going on a spiritual level. Here is what the North Node represents. South Node, in case you don't know, it's this intersecting point with the ecliptic. Okay, and so this is what we're striving for. This is what we bring in from the past. So this is what they're going to look like. So the themes for this North Node, South Node is the South Node, which is the past. I must release judgment towards self and others, a false sense of control, nitpicking, and micromanaging. Virgo is the sign of the perfectionist. Okay, and then in Pisces, which we're striving for, I must embrace empathy, compassion, spirituality, faith in something greater than myself. Absolutely. Okay. During this time, we will also see a lot of people adapt or get involved in spirituality, religions, and belief systems that are going to be very strong. And so we're going to see more of that. Okay. So keep an eye on that. So here is the North Node conjuncting. We get back to now looking at February, the North Node conjuncting right there, okay, Neptune. Very spiritual time, but also because of the energy of Neptune, it is about dissolving. It's about dissolving boundaries. It's about dissolving things. It's about getting rid of things. And so February is that month, once again, where we're seeing a lot of energy shifting and changing. We still have Mars retrograde at this time, so it's a bit of a confusing time. We see it squaring Chiron right there. So there's a lot of healing that needs to take place here, or a lot of realization that's taking place here. And once again, Mars is in the sign of Cancer. So the United States is front and center once again in the picture here of some sort of change that's taking place. And it probably has to do with the new administration and what they're doing to the government and so on and so forth. And many people may not like it. So we'll see how it unfolds. But we're going to see a tremendous amount of change just in the beginning of the year. Now, let's get to Venus retrograde on March the 1st into the 2nd and all the way through April the 12th. So, again, we'll be revisiting the past with relationships, financial matters, all kinds of values, and we're going to see that unfold as well. So let's go to that chart. So here we see the start. We see that Venus is in stationary position before it goes retrograde right there. But we're also seeing other things here, friends. We see the Sun squaring Jupiter. Sun is at 12 degrees and Jupiter's at 12 degrees of Gemini. So we're seeing some sort of friction, conflict, egos in the mix here. A lot of confusion, because Venus is now slowed down to a point where, we're revisiting the past, or things are not moving. We're seeing an exact conjunction. Look here, Neptune, Mercury, and the North Node. It's a confusing time. But those of us that are more spiritually aware and minded are basically yelling at the top of our lungs, hey, don't be afraid. We'll get through this. Everything will work out. We'll see a lot of that. But also, again, it's the power to dissolve that's taking place here as well in March. We see the transiting moon also square Mars. Again, rebelliousness, restlessness, people speaking out. There's an irritability in the air, and this is all in March. So it begins, I would say, in February. Then March is a very volatile month as well because of Venus going retrograde. This could have something to do with the financial system, where they literally, the market collapses, or major changes are announced with the new administration and the central banks and so on. Now, there is one other thing that it could represent, because we're talking about Neptune, Mercury, and the North Node. Again, weather-related anomalies in this period of time, because we're all talking about Pisces, which is a water sign. And so anything to do with water could be on the table here. We need to pay attention to the weather. That's one of the things I've been saying for the longest time, that the weather is going to be very unstable during these times. And we're already seeing that, okay? Because the Earth, the magnetic field of the Earth is tilting. The whole Earth is tilting. This is science saying this, not me saying it. It is absolutely tilting. We know that for a fact. So it's shifting the tectonic plates, the weather patterns, the jet streams, all of that stuff. Okay, so we have to keep an eye on March being a very unstable month as well. In the United States' chart, we see this Venus retrograde. It's in the 4th house. And so this has a lot to do with politics. It has a lot to do with the people in the country. Here it is in stationary position. And so we're going to see either more protests or restlessness, or even, conflict in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, perhaps. There's going to be issues here, friends, but it all revolves around partnerships, relationships. It could involve conflicts around the planet and the funding. Some of that funding may be dissolved, or issues from the past that resurface with partnerships. So this is going to be a major theme here. Okay, we're also seeing that little trifecta in Pisces in the 3rd house. Lots of communication, lots of stuff coming out here, because the 3rd house is communication. It's making the square to Jupiter right there. So we're seeing partnerships, we're seeing irritation, we're seeing governments either battling each other or arguments. I'm not saying war, but there's a lot of conflict. And the United States is going to be in the picture because Mars is in Cancer. Now, at this time, Mars has gone direct, which is helpful, but Mars is still in Cancer, okay? And it's squaring the transiting moon and the natal Saturn. So here we see the T-square that I see here, okay, on this particular day or around this time, give or take a day or two. So we're seeing restlessness. We're seeing irritation. We're seeing things with power struggles in the United States, people speaking out, restlessness. And I'm seeing all of that here. And so it's a confusing time. Like I said, the first couple of months of 2025 is just total mess. I'm sorry, friends. It's just the energy going backwards. It's not going in the direction we wanted. It's part of the transformation cycle. So this is the kind of energy I'm seeing, or many of us astrologers are seeing. Now let's talk about the eclipses real quick, because in March, look, there's more significant energy coming in on March the 14th in Virgo. This is about perfection. This is about analyzing every small detail, but it's a lunar eclipse, so we need to let go of something. But we do have to keep an eye on stuff related to health, because Virgo is the sign of health. So again, March seems to be this volatile month that could involve health or having to do with people feeling more irritated and restless. And then towards the end of the month of March, we have on the 29th, we have this solar eclipse once again, like we had last year, in Aries, which is, again, like setting a match, putting a little kerosene on the fire and igniting a new path, a new beginning. And this is all at the end of, March. But things won't really take hold until the middle of April, according to my calculations here. Now, I will get to these other eclipses in September as we get to those. But as you can see here, one in Pisces and another one in Virgo. So that's going to be very significant for health matters. As you can see here, on March the 30th, Neptune enters Pisces. And then later on in May, the 24th, Saturn enters Aries. These both enter Aries. So again, the general themes for these alignments that are going to take place: visionary leadership, creative and bold imagination, spiritual warrior archetype, okay? Because Aries is very much the pioneer and rebellion energy, and Neptune is about completely revolutionizing something at the spiritual level. Rebellion against illusions, revolutionizing inspiration, challenges of impulsiveness and idealism. So this is where the energy starts getting ramped up in society, because everyone's going to start feeling, I need more. I got to do this. I don't want that. There's this energy of getting things done with the fiery energy of Aries. And so this is where I think this could be a great time for you to start a new business, reinvent yourself by exercising or starting a new program, breaking free from the limitations that we place on ourselves. This is all part of this Neptune in Aries energy. So we need to embrace that and see where that takes us. Now, the potential areas of impact with this one is personal and collective identity. I'm not sure who I am and where I'm going and, all of this other stuff, because that's the confusion that Neptune brings to the equation. But Aries is very self-assertive. And so we see this completely changing. Spiritual practices, absolutely. This is all about action-oriented spiritual practices. This is where we might see marches with religious leaders and protests and so on. Social movements, absolutely. This is pioneering, it's not fair. We need this, we need that. And so we're going to see a lot of that. Art and culture, breakthroughs and avant-garde revolutionary artists. We may see a lot of that. But there's something very interesting here. We astrologers, when we look at the past, last time these planets were in a certain sign, we could see the trends. Neptune last transited Aries from 1861 to 1875. A period marking the revolutionary shifts, including the American Civil War, which reflected themes of fighting for ideas and redefining societal structure. That's what I'm getting at, friends. This is the kind of energy we have at play, and it's a long time, from 2025 through 2039. So this is the kind of themes that we've already seen and that we may see again evolving in 2025, okay? So here's Neptune entering Aries on the 30th, right there, okay? And so there is tremendous amounts of energy in the air here as Neptune makes its way into Aries. We're still seeing a lot of Pisces energy right there, which is confusion and uncertainty about what is actually happening or taking place. Again, water issues are on the table. Mars is in Cancer, and we still have all of this water energy of Pisces. So passions are running high, a desire for longing, connections and emotions and family dynamics. But it could also be surprises with weather anomalies having to do with water. This is why I've been saying this all along, friends. Watch the water, especially if you live on the west coast of the United States or the west coast of South America. These are the areas that I'm seeing significant weather anomalies, and we've just started. So keep an eye on all of that. Now, in the United States' chart, that Neptune enters Aries, and this is going to be very significant because in the United States' chart, the fourth house represents the home, the family, the foundation, but it also represents the people. And so Neptune is going to hit this bottom point, and later on in May, Saturn will hit this bottom point. So we're going to see protests. We're going to see people rebelling. We're going to see changes in the House of Representatives. We're going to see things that are going to be very disruptive this year in these areas. I'm sorry to have to say that, but I'm not one to sugarcoat. I'm going to give it to you straight, so you're better off, that you could prepare for these changes psychologically, because these planets are going to begin to square. As you can see, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun. Here's the first of them. There's Neptune in Aries. 0 degrees, 3 degrees, 5 degrees. So this is all going to take place in 2025. So it's the energy ramping itself up to make some significant changes. We could also see Pluto at 3 degrees in conjuncting Venus at 3 degrees, which represents something to do with financial matters or partnerships and irritation and conflict at this time. We also see Mars conjuncting Mercury. So there is definitely this friction in the air at this time. There's no way around it, friends, okay? But it could be good in terms of a breakthrough, like no more, controlling government agencies, or, states taking back more of their power, the people rising up and paying attention to what the political leaders, the corporations, and the criminal banks are doing. This could be part of that, awakening process. Now, on April the 20th, let's dive into April the 20th because we have a conjunction going on. Let's see. We have Saturn in conjunction. We have Venus, the North Node. So here is Uranus right there. Okay, this is April the 20th, another time we need to look at. We see Mars now has switched signs, gone into Leo, opposing Mars opposing Pluto, and squaring the Sun. And then we see the conjunction here of Venus and the North Node and Saturn. There's going to be new financial systems in the mix, friends. And this is what I'm seeing here. In April, major change starts to occur in society, in the United States, around the world. And Uranus is in a favorable position to all of this. So what it's suggesting to me is we're going to see some technology breakthroughs. We're going to see something new that comes into the picture. Okay? It's no longer we're doing things the old ways. We'll see it in politics. We'll see it in our currency. We'll see it in governments around the world as the people rise up and to take back their power, because that's what Uranus energy is like. That's what the Neptune energy is like. And we could see conflict here between these three bodies here. So April marks a pivotal turning point in humanity's development. In the United States, we see that once again. There's something new, a new financial system, financial currency, announcements about something new. We're seeing a lot of communication going on. Jupiter is beginning to conjunct Mars. And we see the opposition there, the T-square that's created, tension, volatility, uncertainty. But we're seeing now Mercury and Neptune are right there on the bottom of the chart of the United States. So people are aware. They are awake. They are paying attention to what the heck is going on here. And again, it may have something to do with the banks and the new administration and how they're running things. Could have something to do with the dollar. The dollar might have crashed at this time, and we are seeing a new currency trying to be implemented. So that's the kind of energy I'm seeing. This is a very innovative energy that's coming in, but it's also a very destructive energy. So at least you guys have the time frame that I'm talking about. So reinvent yourself. Prepare now, and keep calm and just do the best you can. But we're totally reinventing ourselves around the world at this time with all of this energy that's coming in. Now, on the 18th, Jupiter begins to square the North Node. Here is Jupiter at 25 degrees of Gemini, and it squares, as you can see, loosely here, but really around this time it's going to be exact. And Saturn is also still in the picture here. So we're looking at a confusing May. Could have something to do with the new financial system, the new innovation, the new technology that's trying to be implemented here. And, we also have the Sun-Uranus conjunction, once again suggesting that people are aware, awake. This could have something to do with extraterrestrials, too. We're seeing an amazing change in society at this time, but it has a lot to do with our value systems because it's in Taurus. So we're seeing so much information just exploding from April on, May, just tremendous amounts of information coming forth, and we're all like, oh, what the hell's going on? That surprise after surprise is coming into the mix. All right, so getting back to May the 24th, we have Saturn going into Aries. Now it joins Neptune. And the key themes here for Saturn and Aries: leadership development, learning patience with action. Saturn's very disciplined. Aries is not. So it's learning patience with action. Building confidence, overcoming fear of failure, channeling assertiveness. Absolutely. Again, this is the first sign of the zodiac, so it gives us the initiative to start something new. Responsibility and individuality, mastery of initiative and self-discipline, physical and mental endurance, absolutely. Innovative in structure, absolutely. Healing anger and frustration, absolutely. So these are the general themes of Saturn and Aries. Saturn and Aries right there is going to enter and join Neptune. So this is very powerful, friends, very powerful in energy to become more inventive, innovative. Now I want you to notice something. As soon as these signs enter Aries, they immediately will start making connection to Pluto, the transformer. So this is why we're saying as astrologers, there's so much change coming in this year, especially the second half. My goodness, it all starts in April. It accelerates our awareness. It accelerates our initiative. It accelerates the process even more when we go into May. So we can see here there's nothing holding us back from some sort of significant changes that are taking place at this time. So it has to do with the self-aware, taking charge, rebuilding, starting new things. This is all in the mix. In the United States' chart, as I was saying earlier, now we have Saturn and Neptune right on the bottom part of the chart, which has to do with the United States. So we are going to see people basically taking charge. We may even see some military on the streets in the United States, yes, like we're seeing in South Korea. But this is going to be a very forceful energy that's coming in. And the reason that is, and sad to say, it begins to square Venus, it begins to square Jupiter. Even though we have a favorable alignment to Pluto, Pluto is still in conjunct Venus. So we're seeing some sort of power struggle between the people and the power structures that shouldn't be. And so this could be rebelliousness against Mr. T. This could be, or his policies, or what he's doing to the government at this point. Whatever it is absolutely a restless nature here. This is not calm, relaxed. Yeah, everything's going to be great. No, this is, let's get in there and do this. Let's make this happen. It's high vibrational, restless energy, friends. Okay, so we're going to see this all continue to evolve through May. Now, in June, we have Jupiter entering Cancer, which is all about nurturing and compassion and understanding. Not so much compassion, but more of a reserved feeling and emotion. Okay, but it's about protecting the family and the emotions of the family and the feelings. So here are the general themes of Jupiter in Cancer: emotional expansion, family and home focus, nurturing and protecting, intuition and spiritual growth, absolutely, abundance through emotional intelligence, generosity and charity. Yes, Cancers can be very giving. Heightened sensitivity, without a doubt. We become more sensitive to everything. Challenges to consider: overprotectiveness, emotional dependency, and of course, overindulgence. Jupiter loves to do things on a large scale, and in Cancer, we might find ourselves overeating or hoarding or stuff like that, So this is going to be a very monumental year for Jupiter in Cancer. There is Jupiter in Cancer. Right there is joined by Mercury, and so they begin to square Saturn and Neptune. So we're seeing significant changes once again as we're going into June, the beginning of June, and we're seeing a connection to Pluto and in conjunct. So we're seeing something evolving, something changing. We're also seeing a square from Venus to Pluto. And so we're seeing some major changes here at the beginning of June as well in the United States, I believe. But on a personal level, it has to do with your feelings and emotions. Many people will be moving at this time or desiring to move. But we're also seeing something else. Mars begins to square Uranus. The Mars is in Leo, an aggressive sign, and it is beginning to square Uranus, which means innovation and change. So I do see a lot of movement in the country at this time, in the United States and around the world for that matter. People are going to become more restless, wanting to break free from restrictions, personal restrictions and limitations that they've been feeling. This energy is not calm and it's not about kumbaya and community, unfortunately. It is about restless action. And that's what I'm seeing here, friends. And so we're going to see it. Again, we have to keep an eye on the weather because Cancer is a water sign. So we may see some of that going on. It's just a wild year. I am just seeing it from every possible scenario that I'm looking at. So we'll have to see how it unfolds. But Jupiter will be in the 7th house of the United States, beginning to conjunct Venus. So we're seeing new financial systems again that I'm seeing here. We're seeing new partnership potentials. There could be rebuilding going on in the United States. because Mr. T wants to bring back companies and money back to the United States. So we may see more factories coming back to the United States. We may see incentives to come and build your factory in the United States. So there's a rebuilding taking place here, friends. At the same time, all this energy is taking place. So it's going to be very important. It's going to be, the second half of the year starts to look a whole lot better than the first half of the year. So this could be the beginning stages of something that's being implemented that looks really good or has potential for improving our lives here in the United States. But it is restless, no doubt about it. Mars squaring Uranus. We see the planets down here on the fourth house cusp. So it is absolutely innovative and technology oriented. It could have something to do with the real estate markets changing, the values. Many professional economists are saying the real estate market could take a hit. So we may see some of that taking place, But I do think that we're going to be rebuilding something here in the United States if Mr. T, actually could pull it off, where we bring back factories or we bring back industry here and we do our own thing instead of having things manufactured overseas. That is a real possibility here. Now, getting back to these major transits, as you can see here, all right, we're seeing these squares taking place. So as you can see, I've kind of guided you through the year so far. As we get down here into June, we see the squares evolving between Saturn and Neptune. So there's major adjustment periods taking place here. So, but the big news really of the year, I would have to say, is going to be Uranus entering Gemini. This is explosive energy. This is breakthrough energy. This is, going from the slow, practical side of Taurus now into Gemini, which is lively and restless and fidgety and communicative and just wants to know. And it's jumpy and it's excited, which works a little bit better in Uranus. So here we see the dates, July the 7th through May 22nd, 2033. So again, we've got, 8 years or so of this volatile energy that's coming in, innovative energy that's coming in, okay? So we're going to see some of the greatest innovations at this time, at this period, and all begins this year, okay? But here is something I got to point out to you, and this is why we astrologers see this being a very volatile year, because the last time Uranus was in Gemini, 250 years ago, was during the American Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. This period doesn't exactly match a Uranus return in Gemini, but it's close to when the United States was founded in 1776. With Uranus in Gemini, the Revolutionary War marked the birth of a nation, coinciding closely with Uranus transit through Gemini. And there it is, May 1767 through April of 1779. Now, let's move forward again, another 84 years or so. The American Civil War took place, 1861 to 1865. All right, so the next Uranus in Gemini phase occurred from April 1859 to March 1871. The Civil War, which began in 1861, fits within this time frame. This war fundamentally reshaped the nation, coinciding with a period of dramatic social and political upheaval as Uranus transited Gemini. Now remember, at this time, we also have Neptune in Aries, which is again fueling more fire. So we're seeing a restlessness. Then we move forward another 84 years. What did we have in 1939 to 1945? We had World War II. While the United States' involvement in World War II began in late 41, Uranus had entered Gemini in August of 1941 and remained there until September 1948. This global conflict greatly influenced the geopolitical landscape, including the U.S.'s role as a world power. Now, again, forecasted Uranus return. Uranus is expected to return to Gemini, as you know, in July of 2025 and will remain there until 2033. So, friends, again, take this with a grain of salt, but, we already have a proven track record, okay, in the last 250 years of Uranus entering Gemini and what it's done. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the same, but we may see this around the world. We may see conflicts erupting around the world, with the people just rebelling and having civil wars. And that is a very good possibility. But the real reason this is important to the United States is because the United States has a Uranus in Gemini. All right? So Uranus in Gemini. There are some favorable alignments that are coming in with this Uranus in Gemini. So this is why I'm saying the second half of 2025 looks pretty interesting. I would say it's more beneficial because of Uranus right there entering Gemini, and it immediately makes a connection to Saturn and Neptune and also to Pluto. So we're seeing innovation, we're seeing technology, we may be seeing extraterrestrials, we may be seeing something new and innovative that is grabbing our attention and going, oh, wow, that's amazing. At the same time, we may see around the world people conflict and restless behavior and, whatever it is, this energy is not very docile and calm. We've gone into air energy and fire energy, which is all about action and innovation and realization. So July brings in major transformation of awareness, technological advances, cryptocurrencies, new ways to exchange value, new technology that could help us. We're going to see all of this coming through, and it looks like July is going to be the time while everything else is going on simultaneously. In the United States' chart, there's the Uranus in Gemini, and this will take several years before Uranus conjuncts the Uranus conjunction there. The return. And so I'm going to see this, we're probably going to see this in 2027, 2028, 2029. This is going to be significant for the United States, and I will cover that. But as you can see at this time, Jupiter is in a high position in the United States' chart. We're seeing Pluto, we're seeing Saturn, we're seeing Neptune, and we're seeing Uranus, all in favorable alignments, friends. So we're seeing something new is evolving here in the United States. Could be a new form of government. It could be all these agencies that have been corrupted are going to be gone. Okay, and that is a very good possibility. And that would be great news, in my opinion. So we're going to see a lot of that taking place in July. And so, we're going to go through this little bit of a rough period, but then all of a sudden, things start to change for the better. Now, as I said, the second half of the year looks much better, especially in August. August, these alignments look very favorable between Saturn and Uranus and Neptune, the outer planets. And so the rest of the year looks like it has a lot of potential, friends, for something new that we could enjoy. All right? So always remember that we are spiritual beings having this human experience. 2025 brings a closure to many aspects of our lives because it's preparing us for 2026, where we completely reinvent ourselves in a new way, a new mindset, a new beginning in every area of our lives. So always remember this, okay? Remind yourself on a regular basis of who you really are. When you look in that mirror, you're not your body. You're the soul in that body, the energy vibrating in that body, okay? So anyway, if you want to know more, consider joining my inner circle. There we do all kinds of stuff, all new innovative stuff. I may even be teaching tarot in there soon. But we do extended monthly horoscopes. I do the weekly horoscopes. We do the Zoom calls every Sunday. I teach astrology. People could ask me a whole bunch of questions. I could go over people's charts. I mean, there's so much information that I'm putting out in this inner circle that you may want to consider joining. And of course, it has a 7-day free trial. All right. So do the best you can, friends. We are in for a world of change in 2025. And I look forward to being here and helping you guide you through these changes. All right. Have a great new year, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.